This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Bonjour, Ani.
Goe.
From Three Things Consulting. My name is Peter.
My name is Brennan.
And we're here today because, we're getting ready to say goodbye to Brennan tonight. Where are you heading tonight?
Heading back home, Nova Scotia.
There you go. You're
Mi'kma'ki.
Mi'kma'ki to Millbrook First Nation.
Mm-hmm.
And most importantly to
my family.
Your family. And your dog.
And my dog.
She's
my family.
Oh, well, there you go. Okay. And so you came out to help work on the language project, which, like many of our projects, have been postponed or canceled because of the COVID-19 virus. And so as we were chatting this week, we were talking about that, about what that means, and particularly not for us as a business, but as us as individuals. And when we were chatting about it the other day, you had some sort of immediate pressing thoughts.
Yeah, well, just like this is such a, none of us have ever gone through anything like this before, and like with that comes not only new events and new crises, but new anxieties and new stress. Like even my palms are sweaty right now just thinking about it. Yeah, like I worry about my family and my loved ones back home, and with all everything happening in the travel world right now, it's just I feel like right now is just the time to be home right now, and those anxieties just are almost unbearable while being away from home.
And I imagine there's lots of people who are feeling that. And,
100%.
And even those people who are with their families, who are feeling that stress and pressure about what's going to happen and the unknown, right? Mm-hmm. One of the realities is a narrative like we're experiencing. And you're right, it's not just your generation, because I was on a call yesterday with two women I have so much admiration and respect for, and they're brilliant. And they were saying, and they're older than I am, and I won't say much older, but they're certainly older than I am, of another generation. And but they were both saying that they had never seen anything of this nature, right? And so that unknown is really easy to create that anxiety. And one of the concerns we were having when we were talking the other day is it's really hard to actually live like that. Mm-hmm. Like it's hard to make decisions when you're anxious and you're really anxious. It's hard to make choices. It's hard to make decisions. And the reality is that there are actual ways that we can be addressing that. Mm-hmm. That we don't have to live with that bundle and ball of stress and worry and fear. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean that it's not rational, because it right now, in some cases, it is. But at the end of the day, though, it's also, wanting to make sure that people are healthier and a little bit happier in a really challenging situation. Mm-hmm. And so around managing that anxiety, it might not even be eliminating it, but figuring out strategies and tools to manage it.
Yeah, because this is not something that we can escape. This is something that we're going to have to deal with and learn to deal with right away, and that includes not only the crisis at hand, the pandemic, but all the anxieties that come with it, like you just said.
So is there something that, is there anything that you've learned or you've done since that first conversation that's helped alleviate some of that anxiety? Yeah,
well, just creative expression really helps me a lot. And after our short discussion about the COVID-19, just our talk about the First Nations perspective on life in general really helped me become grounded. And so being able to express that visually and create something and kind of put my emotions and anxieties and stress into that it made me feel not only productive, but it also made me feel more in control of those emotions.
Well, and that's so important, right? And those two pieces. One is that connection to, so for us as First Nations people or Indigenous people, but regardless of your background, having that connection, right, to something greater, having that connection to something that helps ground you and does link you to your past and to your future, to remind us, right, that there's been a long lineage of people who have been warriors in the past, and we're going to be able to create a lineage of those to come after us. We know that will be the case. It's even with the uncertainty. And so really that importance of linking to who we are, or for people watching, who you are, really determine, like finding that connection, that point-to-point connection to that piece that's bigger than yourself. And you found that helpful in addressing that anxiety.
Yeah, it helped. I didn't think it would help. But after doing it, it was such a sense of not relief, but like I said before, control. It's just more like management, being able to live with that, because we're not gonna.
We're not going to erase it. It's that it is really, and one of the challenges one of the reasons it can be scary or anxious causing is that 24/7, that's what we're hearing. And so one of the tips that we've certainly looked at this week and we've read is that, and I'm now trying to practice this myself, is I don't need to be on my phone all day long looking at updates. They're doing updates in the morning and updates in the evening. And so today I read the news this morning. I checked in after lunch, and I'll read it again tonight. I'll see what's updated tonight. Because if we stay attached, we live in a world that's 24/7, and your generation has lived with that.
Yeah.
Your entire
and the generation next even more so. Like they are, like we at least got the opportunity to play outside and be disconnected, but now they are just so connected. It is just unreal.
And that's got to be scary. That if as a young person and as Indigenous young people, especially those who are in northern or remote communities, or even just in communities that are disconnected from, so even an hour away from something, right? From medical services or a hospital, that's got to cause those same sort of fears. And so it's important then to recognize that we disconnect a little bit, that you don't need every single update. There's things you can do if you've got apps, if you've got news apps, or if you've got Reddit or others, you can shut off the notifications.
You can mute terms, you can mute hashtags.
Yeah. So there might be some value in looking at that as well, that disconnect piece. So connecting to something bigger, that disconnect piece. But you also talked about the creative outlet. So if young people are feeling, and really anyone for that matter, regardless of their age, are feeling some anxiety around what we're experiencing right now in this world, what might you recommend?
I would recommend just expressing yourself however you can. Just getting that, just taking that energy and turning it into something. Because, I mean, clearly we're all going to be at home for a long time. And, people are going to need something to do, and I'm not saying you have to be productive. You don't have to be out cleaning the house or redecorating or learning a new skill. Just turn that energy into something that doesn't cause degradation. Yeah.
One of the things that for Indigenous young people, and really actually if you've got a background as well, that English isn't the first language, the next 2 weeks and potentially longer, what a great opportunity to, instead of downloading a news app, downloading a language app in your language, going to language websites. Maybe one of the things someone can do, and in fact, and I hadn't thought of it until just a second, and maybe I'll see if I can get some help with this, is that putting language stickers on all items in your house.
Ooh,
so that you can practice this
idea.
time, because we know that immersion is a great tool for language learning.
Yeah.
And so there's a number of ways that people can be creative, right? Now, when we had talked, I'd suggested journaling, because journaling is it's a way to be able to get whatever is inside of your head, which so often affects our hearts, right? And so if things are spinning in our head in a way that are almost unmanageable, our heart and our spirit feel hurt. And so a good piece of strategy is to sit down with a pen and paper and just write it out. Whether it's, and maybe you use your phone, maybe you use an iPad or a computer, but just take and give a chance to free your head of those thoughts. Because sometimes what happens when we're anxious is that they get faster and faster and faster and more unmanageable. Does that sound familiar?
Oh yeah, that sounds all too familiar. And the trick here too is that you don't have to, like journaling for example, you don't have to sit down and, okay, I'm going to write about my COVID-19 anxieties. Just the act of just sitting down with no goal of what to write about, but should just let your hand do the work. Just let whatever needs to come out, come out. Whether that be a smiley face on a big piece of paper or a full article.
Yeah. And and it's funny. So if you go to www.threethings.ca and check out Things We're Thinking, you can read the blog post today that Brennan shared, which exactly is that it's just what came out. And it was beautiful. And we were, pardon me?
Wallalin, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And one of the pieces about it is that maybe it won't get shared on a website, and maybe you don't want it to, and that's okay too. It's just about freeing our brains and our spirits and our hearts so that we can, in fact, breathe through this over the next 2 weeks. There are lots of other strategies and ideas of what people can do. Sorry, I'm just looking at my notes here. You can't see them, but I promise they're here. If you're under 18, we'd certainly suggest, and you're feeling a lot of anxiety, what's somewhere they can call?
Kids Help Phone?
Totally. And you can either call them, you can go online, you can go on their website. They have a section right now just about this, but you can reach out and talk to someone. If you're having these feelings, you don't have to, because they're not alone, right?
No. None of us are.
And but we don't also have to let these feelings control us. Because if we don't get them under control, we don't manage them a little bit, what are some of the other things that might happen then?
Well, they become overwhelming, and then we start to spiral down. We let the negative energy take over, and we let those negative tendencies, maybe we fall into bad habits, maybe we text a girl that we shouldn't be texting.
Oh, interesting.
Whatever happens.
Whatever happens.
Yeah, so it's important that we take care of ourselves in these moments, and by taking care of ourselves, we're taking care of each other as well.
Exactly. Because we want to be able to be here to help our elders, right? Mm-hmm. We want to be able to help our grandparents or our parents, our community members who are more vulnerable. What did you do yesterday?
Yesterday I wrote, I watched movies, I just relaxed.
Oh, but you also did something else. You helped someone yesterday.
Did I? I forget.
You did.
Can you enlighten me?
In a car.
Oh yeah, we brought a little care package to Zoe.
Yeah, so lots of you know our friend Zoe. She wasn't feeling the greatest. She's fine, just so you know, but she wasn't feeling the greatest, and she too is self-isolating, like we all should be. Mm-hmm. And so we just zipped over, and I think if I'm not mistaken, like you left it outside the door.
Yeah.
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 So no contact, right?
Yeah. But that's the reality we're in. We have to be responsible, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with setting your boundaries. It's important that we should all do that right now.
Totally. We need to let people know. We're going to show you. So one of the things that I've been doing, truthfully, is that I love TikTok. We've been watching TikTok this week. It is true. But I've done two things with TikTok. One is that I've let it become a distraction when I'm feeling anxious. Mm-hmm. So, because it's very entertaining. It's just so enjoyable. But also, though, I've also figured out that after about 10 or 15 minutes, I need to stop. Because although I'm feeling relaxed when I watch it, I need to understand that I don't want to actually end up doing that for 6 hours and then feeling like, oh, I didn't do anything else. So self-care is really important, and the practices we use to care for ourselves, we want to make sure that we're doing that in a good way as well. But that said, it is about making sure that people know how we feel, and one of the greatest things in this conversation is that Brennan had the courage and the bravery to say, this is what I'm feeling. So if you're feeling these feelings like Brennan's felt, or I've felt, and many of us have, about that sort of anxiety, make sure you let someone know, because if you don't let them know, they're not going to be able to be there for you.
No. Find
someone to talk to, reach out, and look online, and look at your blog, because you posted a bunch of links of other things, places people can find great feedback. we're going to play this little thing for you. I don't know how it works. I don't know how to work it, to be honest, but we're going to play a video from TikTok. You might not be able to see it, but it really is the best one. And it speaks to the point of telling people what it is that you need. So let's see here. Let's see. We're going to hit pause. We're going to turn this around. Okay. We're going to turn the volume up. So we hope you can see that. And
I don't think there's any sound on it.
There might not be any sound.
Doesn't
We got to
really
press
matter
play.
anyway.
See, we got Jeff is helping us here as well, and we're grateful for that. There's the sound button. And here we go. Just take a peek of this. This is a great life lesson right now. I know how to hit play. There we go.
Especially in relationships. That's why I trust you, Mom.
No one can connect you with high quality harmony. Just like every 14 weeks, someone can love on harmony. Start free today. When it comes to your personal style, accessories are the ultimate.
So that dog was able to very clearly express what she needed, right? She was, she's like, did I tell you could stop petting me yet? And it's so important, like lessons from that beautiful dog. It's so important that we make sure we let people know what we need. Because if we don't let people know, we're going to sit alone and struggle on our own. And that's, well, first of all, it's not fun, but it's also not healthy. We want you all to take care of yourselves and be well, and for your families and your communities and nations to be well. And when you are struggling, take a look at that blog that Brennan wrote. Write things down, click some of those links. If you're under 18, call Kids Help Phone. Talk to other people you trust. Stay connected. Isolation doesn't mean you have to isolate. And make sure that you stay linked and connected. Anything last you want to say?
No.
Well, thank you, Brennan, for coming to help with the language event and for that blog and this video. I have a feeling it's going to be very helpful. And to all of you, just a reminder how much you matter in this world. It is, it's easy to forget that. It's easy to forget that we matter, but you really do. And it is so important that you're here with us in this world. And you're important. And you certainly belong as part of our family at Three Things and in this world. And Brennan, you too, you belong. And but you also belong at home right now. And so tonight you'll head there. And so a shout out to everyone at Three Things. We've got Jeff, who's still here, and all of our other consultants across the country who are taking care of themselves and their families, and all of our clients and young people that we know from coast to coast to coast. We just say be well, stay in touch, and remember to practice kindness as best as you can during this situation, both to others and to yourself. And with that,
Multis. See you later.
see you later.